it's Chimney. So in this video, I'm gonna be talking about good old YouTube, the place that made me. Did it make me? I've had a great time on YouTube. And I wanna talk about 4 of the hidden consequences of starting a YouTube channel. This is inspired by a trip I did to South Africa, and I met this guy who worked at the place we were staying, and I'm just like remembering it. I'm like remembering the experience, and it really was a high and a low. He was asking me what I do, and I was like, I make YouTube videos, I have a YouTube channel. And he was like, oh, this was someone that I did not know, truly a stranger. And then I saw him, go on his phone and pull up my YouTube channel, and he was like, I'm gonna watch some of your videos. And I was like, great, do that, I love the engagement, leave a comment or something. And then he, throughout the rest of our time together, he would send me like comments or references, like different things that I'd experienced. He would like watch these videos and like give me his 2 cents. And what I realized, I think it was because he watched the video that I made where I talked about something like traumatic that happened on Remote Year. Not because of Remote Year, because of my own choices, though arguably if you sign up for Remote Year. You a little reckless, man. Why you selling all your stuff and leaving your family and friends to gallivant across the world? Best decision ever, use my referral code. He left this comment that was like one of those like, like poor you, which is fine. He left some empathy. But what I realized in that moment was there's this insane power balance, this insane like knowledge balance. I don't know what the word is, but it's like you no longer have the opportunity to make your own first impression. You don't have the opportunity to tell people your own stories from your own point of view. There are a lot of things that have happened in my life, and how I think of them now, the way it falls into the narrative I've created about my own life, it's really shifted. But when you create a video and you put it out into the world, you're really creating this like frozen moment in time of this particular experience, perspective, way of being, way of looking, and it's frozen forever. And we're not supposed to freeze time. Things are supposed to flow, all right? And so by giving people access to this old version of you, this past version of you, there's no tit for tat. Unless the other person also has a YouTube channel, there's always this imbalance of sharing and understanding and knowledge from one person to the other. And I don't think I realized that's what was happening, and that's what I was doing by creating all these videos, especially because I don't want to delete these videos. I don't want to put them on private. That's an option for me. I like the fact that I have a place where I can see this record of how I've changed and evolved over time, but I never really thought what it meant for that to be something that was public to everyone. And specifically that there are all these things and these experiences, there are these nuances and details about my life that other people, strangers, know. I was chatting to one of my cousins. I think it was a friend of hers or someone she knew, someone in her network was like,
are you related to Chimney?
Because, she saw that we had the same last name. She was like, yeah, that's my cousin. This person was just like referencing personal things from my life. And so my cousin thought that this person was a friend of mine.
Because she didn't realize how successful I am on YouTube.
So she was telling me like, do you know so-and-so? And I was like, that's a stranger. And she was like, oh, I thought. And I was like, nope. And it was because she'd seen my YouTube and she knew all these details that I had shared. And if you don't realize that I am that transparent on YouTube. I was talking to a friend of mine and she was like, you really just be saying whatever on YouTube, like, all right, y'all, I just smoked a blunt. And I'm like, all right, first off. But it's true, I am very transparent on here. And I never considered that someone could use that as a way to, just get all up in my life. It's a choice. It's a choice you make. The second hidden consequence is that you will see through the veil. And in that, I mean the veil of media. To me, I feel like I've seen through the behind the scenes. And I love behind the scenes, though I don't know if I would have loved it as much if I realized that the process of seeing how something is made can also take the magic out of it. As a creator, I now have made my own channel. So I'm staring at this camera on a tripod with the mic attached. I'm gonna edit this video later. I know about editing software. I know about special effects. I know how we can tell stories and we can manipulate stories. And so now when I look at a lot of media, I see the behind of what I'm actually looking at. In my creative career, I've gotten to be on a web series, I've gotten to shoot a commercial, I shot a reality show. I've gotten to do all these really interesting creative things, and I truly hope to do more. And as a result, it's cool because now I know how these things work. But now I'll watch TV shows and movies that I used to just be able to watch as a piece of entertainment, and I'll think about the actor, I'll think about the blocking of the scene, I'll think about about the camera positions. I'll think about all of these threads happening at the same time that I otherwise wouldn't have seen before. And I think when it comes to people, often we look at celebrities and public figures and we really think that they are different than us. We think they are living some kind of other life. We think the experiences they have are just completely out of this world. And in some instances, in terms of like, I think about like the ultra wealthy, I know they're having a very different like lived experience day to day, but the reality is that no one is exempt from being a person. No one is exempt from the trials and tribulations that come with being a person. Every single person, no matter if they're the biggest star, they are still going through it as a person, you know, because that's what it means to be alive, is to be going through it. And that's not a bad thing. It's like a beautiful thing to be alive. If there wasn't, I saw this clip and it was an actor and he was talking about how he was going through all these ups and downs and he was telling his therapist how he just wants to like, just have it be like, can we just kind of chill right here? The therapist gave the metaphor of like the EKG machine at the hospital that measures the heartbeat. And it's like, if you don't have the ups and downs, you're flatlining. We may say we want to have this like even life, but actually that looks like not being alive at all. But I think I did think that they were other people having other lives. And I think that's why it's so shocking when you hear these news stories about celebrities who are really going through it and they're having these wild domestic situations or whatever else. And I'm always like, that's because that's a person. Like, that's just some guy. That's just some woman. Like, that's just a person doing their thing. You can just look at your own neighborhood, any of your neighbors, you know, or just look at yourself. If someone put your business on the news, it would seem wild, right? You as a regular person get to go through your ups and downs in private, and they go through their ups and downs, they go through their divorce, they go through all of that, and we all look and judge and comment and leave our 2 cents. There's a lot of the glamour of being creative and being in the public eye and being on camera and being in front of the lights. You just see it for what it is, you see through it, and it's beautiful to create things, it's beautiful to share stories with the world, but to me it's not everything. And I think being so far in and seeing that at the end of every award show, the people still just go home. like they may go to a dope after party, to be clear, but then they go home, you know? So we all are just out here living. All that glitters isn't gold. Remember that phrase? I love cliches because I'm realizing if it's a cliche, if it's been said that many times, it's because there's a deep, profound truth, and we were able to sum it up in like 5 words. Another hidden consequence that I knew intellectually, but it's different when you know it experientially. When you record your life, you have evidence. You have video, audio evidence of what was really going on, of the energy you really have, of how you're really showing up, what you're really doing, that can really conflict with a story and a narrative you've been telling yourself. So for instance, I will occasionally go back and watch my old YouTube videos. For a while I didn't, because I wanted the view counts to be accurate, so I just wouldn't watch my own videos. And I spent enough time making it that I was like, I got the gist of that, and I would move on. As a result, I would kind of create these different stories about my growth as a YouTuber, about my ability as an editor, about my storytelling abilities, all these different things, but I wouldn't actually be rooted in the truth of the video. It would just be an idea. Then I would actually watch one of my older videos and I'd be able to see like, oh, and for the most part, it would be a positive thing. It would be like, wow, I really was making, I was looking at some of my older videos, I was editing, like I was really putting my foot in that iMovie, in that Premiere Pro. I'm like, there's music, there's cuts, there's multiple locations, there's B-roll. I was just like, whoa, like I was impressed. And I was like, wow, you was really out here, girl, no wonder. I know I do not edit, I don't have the multiple locations, all that stuff that I used to have, and I see why. I get it, girl, I get it. Like, yeah, that's not who I am right now. But also in terms of my energy levels and my presence, it's been really interesting to notice, especially in the videos from before I quit my job. There's a sort of like, I don't even know how to describe it, but there's there's a darkness, but there is, I don't know how to say it. There's a darkness, y'all. It's like, it's not overt. I'm still me, but there's just a little bit of just the crispy, pointy edge of trauma that's just very obvious to me now. I wouldn't have known or considered how obvious that was without sort of being able to have this physical evidence, and of course without having gone so far to see how I am now and the difference in my energy and in my life. And it's cool to see that. And at the same time, we are supposed to just keep pushing. There's a reason why mothers don't remember childbirth, because if you remembered how bad it was, you would never do it again. You would be like, why in the F would I do that? Like, there are certain people who have like the kind of memory where when they remember something, it's as visceral as if they're living through it right now. And it's terrible. Like they have a really hard, terrible life because we're supposed to move on. We're supposed to forget. And finally, and I think this is also one of those, you know it in your head, but now you know it in your heart, pointing to my heart. And that final consequence is that you now understand that anything is possible. We hear that, I guess that's another cliche, right? We hear that as a thing, like, oh, anything is possible. But it's different when you go from being a person, as we all are, making a choice to buy a camera and a nice lens and a microphone, buy a Mac so you can have iMovie and then later Premiere Pro, and just decide to make a video. One of my first videos, I like blasted it out to a lot of people in my network, and one girl literally just said, she was like,
what is the point of this? Like, why are you doing this?
so she just had no sense. It was like, what's make it make sense, you know? And I was like, I'm just doing it to do it. Like, I want to make YouTube videos. I want to have a YouTube channel, and so I'm doing it. Year after year, video after video, my channel grows, my experience grows. I get all these cool opportunities. I meet all these cool people. I have all these dope things. And I didn't set out knowing the specifics of how my life would change and how it would get better, but I knew this was something that I wanted to do, and I was called to do it. And I knew what I was capable of. Y'all know, come on. Not that y'all know about me, though you should. Y'all know about yourself. Like, you know in your heart how powerful you are, how capable you are, how talented you are. Like, you know, if you really tried, you know, things would be pretty dope, you know? And I just knew that. I was like, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. And I think about this a lot because sometimes as a creator, we get that comparison thing where we think about other people doing it better or different or more interesting. And when I watch my old videos, I'm like, no one could make this particular video in this particular way. They could do their own version of it and it would be cool, but it would not be like this. And it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see and have proof of the particular life path, the particular energetic signature, the particular point of view that only I have. Only me. It's really freaking cool. And that's the same for every single person, right? It's really dope. I was talking to a coaching client of mine, and she was reflecting how she saw that I created my own way for myself. I always wanted to be in media, and I always thought as a Black woman, I wouldn't be able to be successful. Traditionally, I'd have to like do exactly that, carve out my own way versus going through traditional pathways. So that was always my mindset, was like, let me just make things now. Let me show up. Let me show up for myself day after day, week after week, year after year. And that is how you walk a path. Like, a path is created through the walking. It's through the walking. You clear the path, people get to come behind you and like keep going further and further. That's how it happens. And to be that person for myself, to truly not see the ground in front of me, but to walk anyway and have the faith that there is gonna be ground there once my foot meets it, is really powerful, and it's really incredible. And so in a lot of other areas of my life, it's felt like this snowball. Like, well, I did this thing and it worked out pretty well. What about this other scary thing I've never done before? Maybe I should do that. And what's beautiful is that so much of it are things that I've documented. So doing remote year, like, I truly had left the country twice, and then I did a full year of travel. Like, that's wild. Many people have not done that, right? Things like getting eye surgery, shaving my head, moving to LA, moving to New York, like things that there's another version of me that would have been so scared, but having the experience of doing other things that were scary and doing it anyway has built a muscle in me. And it's the muscle of courage, and it's the muscle of saying, let me try and let me see. There are certain people who seem like, wow, they're so accomplished, they have all these incredible achievements, and it's like, how did they get there? And it's just because they decided to. It's just because they were like, let me try, let me go after it. And there are many people who could be exactly where they are, but instead of taking that first step, they decide to stay back. And that's the only difference. Like, each of us is equally capable. It's easier, I think, to say, no, this person over here is different from me, and that's why they are where they're at, because that means you don't have to take personal responsibility. And I spent years and years looking at other people thinking that they had some kind of magic formula that I didn't know about. Ain't no magic formulas, none. You literally just show up for yourself day after day, week after week, and then you get to have this dope ass life. So yeah, if you want to start a YouTube channel, just do it. Nike. One of my favorite things is when people are like, and this video is not sponsored. It's one of those things where it's like, that's a sign of trauma. Because I'm like, what happened where people were in your comments so often about you mentioning brands that you have to be like, this is a sponsored video. Like, people are come at it hard. And I'm like, I would rather you thinking that Nike reached out to me and my channel and said, hey girl, can you like one time at the end of a 15-minute long video, can you just casually sneak in our catchphrase, just do it? Like, and we'll just pay you some unknown sum of money. I'd be like, you got it. You got it, Nike. Patreon people, thank you. I love you. Subscribers, y'all are the sexiest to ever do it, and you honor and bless me by being one of my subscribers. Thank you for having such incredible taste. Let me know in the comment section, have you ever thought about starting a YouTube channel? Do you have a YouTube channel? What makes you subscribe? What makes you watch YouTube? It's awesome. I also just genuinely love YouTube. I love sitting here and watching videos. Like, it's dope. All right, bye.